First thing you gotta do is get your butter ready. Now I'm making a half a recipe of gingerbread because there's just one of me. I don't have an entire family. So we're going to use half a stick of butter, melted. Mostly melted. Quarter cup of light brown sugar. Whisk it. A small egg. Oh, got a little shell in there. For those of you who have seen my award-winning episode for Blackberry Cobbler, you know that I really don't like doing the wet ingredients in one bowl, the dry ingredients in the other bowl, and then combining because that just dirties up another bowl. So we're going to use the method where we put the dry ingredients on top of the wet ingredients and then carefully mix them together on top of the wet ingredients before incorporating them. You'll see, it works. We need about 1 cup of AP flour, a little less than 1 cup. Hey, I just realized I'm stupid and I forgot to put in the molasses. So let's just kind of do that right now and pretend that we put it in at the correct time. Need half a cup of molasses. I hate measuring molasses. It's a mess. I don't have one of those push cup things. It would just be something else to clutter up my kitchen anyway. So I'm just going to eyeball it. This entire jar is 12 fluid ounces, which is 1.5 cups. So we want to use 1/3 of this jar. That was about 1/3. Now we add the rest of the dry ingredients. It calls for half a teaspoon of baking soda, which is supposed to react with the acid in the molasses, but I find that in recipes that use only baking soda to react with an acid, the middle of it always deflates. So I always replace half of the baking soda with baking powder. So we're going to use 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. At this point, you're going to want to incorporate the baking soda and powder with the flour very carefully. Awesome! Now here's where we add a lot of the flavor for this cake. Bread. It's really a cake. Who are we kidding? Cinnamon. Need 1 teaspoon of this. 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cloves. And then the namesake of this cake, a half a tablespoon of ginger. Now you don't want to overmix and work the gluten in the flour too much, so very carefully. Now there's one final ingredient to add to this, 1/4 cup of boiling water. While our water is coming to the boil, I'm going to prep our pan. I have my handy dandy little tiny mini cake pan again. Also, I like making this as cupcakes sometimes and then frosting them with vanilla icing, but this is the more traditional way that my mom and her family would make it. You'll see what we do later instead of vanilla frosting. It's really cool. Some Pam. That was a little more than 1/3 of the jar.
Extra molasses.
Boiling water. I honestly don't know why you have to put boiling water in at the end of the process. It might have something to do with giving the cake a jump start on cooking. That's what it says in the Joy of Cooking, so that's what I'm doing. Carefully pour this into your prepped pan. Gee, I wonder where I'm going to bake this. The toaster oven! Bake at 350 for about 25 minutes and then check it. The total cooking time might be more like 35 minutes. I don't know how long it is. We'll find out. Let's come behold. Now it looks like the top got burnt a little bit, but that's okay. We'll just scrape it off when we serve it. So what you want to do when you take it out of the oven is get a little knife and go around the edges just to get a little air in there so that when the cake cools and shrinks back, it'll have something to shrink away from and it won't crack in the middle. Now I've put a couple pats of better butter on it. Now I'm microwaving it.
Powdered sugar. Behold.
I'm going to be cooking ramen, but not in the way that you'd expect.
Stop the show!
Is that my voice?
Something epic is happening right now!
Oh my god, is this one of these time paradox things? Are we all gonna die?
Oh my god, just look outside. This is the most amazing thing ever!
It's raining, it's raining.
My mom grew up in Southern California, where it pretty much never rains at all. So whenever it rained, her family would celebrate by making gingerbread. She carried on the tradition even after she moved to Northern California and had her own family. So not every time it rained, but especially the very first significant rain of the year, we would make gingerbread. And today, my friends, is the first significant rain of this, not the year. The first significant rain of the year was probably sometime in January. The first significant rain of autumn. The first significant rain we've had in a really, really long time. So we're going to celebrate by making gingerbread. Where's my critic of the week, you ask? I'm not sharing this. It's mine. All mine. So that was our special emergency gingerbread episode to celebrate the rain. Don't worry, next week we'll bring you the episode that we were supposed to have today. I promise. It's about damn time.